Do you hear that? It's almost like a buzzing of some sound, some sort. Maybe I'm going crazy, but I know it's been a while since I last saw you. Is that a plane? I've been lost for almost 2 years now. I just checked. That doesn't work for some reason. Everything is weird. I've been lost in like a black hole of some sort. I went into another dimension. It's been a while since I was last seen in this universe. I finally found my way back. I did happen to pick up this fancy contraption. It helps me look into other universes, so I know which ones to avoid. It's a little clunky. And I don't think I have all the pieces to it, though. Hold on. Oh, my apologies. Did I hit you in the ear? I'm quite sorry. It's a little bulky. Pretty nifty. See if I remember how to use this contraption. Okay. Alright. I'll explain in a moment. It's good to hear the sound of planes again. Actually, it's a funky contraption. We have to look into this piece, and it raises and lowers. I'm going to take off the cap here. Oh, you have some water? Oh, thank you. Okay. You can put your cellular device on here as well. Let's give that a shot. Perfect fit. Okay. So, I believe it was January of 2021. I'll have some of that water again. The return of planes. Where would we be without them? Apparently not in Buffalo. That's a bad place to be, but... Okay. So, it was January of 2021. I believe it might have been New Year's Day. You probably would recall better than me. I've lost quite a bit of my memory after traveling through a multiverse, a rift, or a void, if you will. So yes, I vanished following the last time you saw me. I have been in multiple different worlds where things are quite different from where they are or how they are here. Let's see. I don't recall all of it because it's been a while. But I've been to worlds where dogs walked on 2 feet and wore like a 3-piece suit, had a monocle, and they had pet rats or mice. I think the mice, who also walked on 2 feet, wore 3-piece suits, just on the top, mind you, and had monocles. And they had, I believe they were ants or some kind of locust, who also wore 3-piece suits on top. And many of them liked the idea of walking with canes for some reason. But if they got really scared, they would just fly away. And so I don't know why they need canes, because they mostly fly. But maybe it's just an aesthetic thing. I don't know. That was an interesting world. I was probably there for about 2 months. I made friends with this, it was like a mastiff kind of dog. And he had a lot of gray hair. It looked like a beard. He looked like one of those, what do you call those? He looked like one of those kung fu masters, you know, like the guy from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. What was his name? I can't think of his name, but he was like their mentor. You know what I'm talking about, especially if you grew up in the 90s. So another plane. I thought they weren't working, but I guess they're working again. So yeah, he had a beard like that. I think his name was Ishmael. Or was it Tinglu? Maybe I'm confusing that with the other universe. I don't remember. Anyway, he gave me some good life advice. And I got really close with him until I got sucked into another vortex. A rift, void, however. And there were robots in that world. And they had pet humans. So I had to lay low, otherwise I would become a pet to one of these robots. So I hid out there for about a month and a half. It wasn't that long. I had trouble finding food since most of them ate nuts and bolts, which I can't process, obviously. So I was there. And then when I escaped from there, I get sent to almost like a zebra world without the zebras. So, like on Earth and everything, you see blue clouds and all that stuff, and it's clear skies. But there was kind of like this haze around all the time that had like zebra stripes. It was white and black, but it was faint. So it didn't wasn't in your face blocking you. It was kind of just like floating around and stuff. That's where I picked up these sweet arm guards and stuff. Yeah, they're pretty good. No context there. I just will leave it at that. Then for a couple months, I lived on this giant ball. It was kind of like a globe. People just walked around a giant globe, and when they wanted to go into a certain area, they would just bend down, put their hand on it, and get sucked into that area. And then when they were done, I think they put their hand on the top and got sucked out. If you know what I mean. It's like walking on a lake and you fall in, and then when you try to get out, it's kind of like that. I don't know what they did in there. I tried to avoid touching the stuff because I didn't know what was in there. I didn't know if I'd fall into some kind of like sex dungeon or something. I don't want any part of that. Yeah, there was that. What else? Then I was on a ship for a while, and the water was purple, I believe. And there was like whales that flew with wings where ears on people would be. So like they didn't have fins, they just had these ears, these like wing-like ears that they flew around in, and everyone was determined to catch one. It was almost like a Moby Dick situation. They never got one, so it was just kind of me watching them try to spear these fish things with the ears. And which leads me to one of my final places where I found this contraption. After I left that ship world thing, I ended up in a big treehouse almost. It was pretty normal to our typical treehouses. And the leaves changed with the seasons as they do here, but it was more like the seasons were only a couple days at a time. So you can go through an entire year in just maybe 12 days. Thanks. Haven't had water in a while. I had to drink whatever these places had. It was all different. But I found this treehouse place, and it was almost like living in a world where they could foresee everything with like entities and stuff. There was different kinds of creatures there, and they all had their purposes. And one of them discovered me and said, "Oh, you must be new here. I think you've been traveling around rifts. Not many people are capable of doing that, and it's been on Earth years, almost 2 years." And he said he can see the future and the past. I was like, which one? For all the universes or just like our specific? And he said all the universes. So I was like, well, what about my particular universe? Will I ever be back there? And he says, we'll send you back. We want to show you some things. So he showed me a fancy contraption similar to this, and it was much bigger. It took up an entire room almost. And it was gold, and it had markings on it which I didn't really understand. But he showed me the past and the future of this world. And the past is not what you think it was. We always think about dinosaurs running around and creatures like that like 30 million years ago. Yes, the most recent things that we read about in the textbooks are true. George Washington, but he didn't have wooden teeth like a lot of people think. He actually had plastic teeth. They invented plastic back then. We just didn't know about it until later. I don't really understand the reasons why, but they kept that under wraps. Maybe they realized it was bad for the environment and they just wanted to like use it for themselves and then not tell anybody. I don't know. It gets confusing when you think about it. Anyway, so that's real. Let's see. What was I saying? Ah, yes. So the past, there was no such things as dinosaurs. There was like these creatures, almost as if they were more ancient forms of what we have today, which seems kind of realistic when you think about it. So there were elephants, for example. The elephants, what did they have? They had kind of like scales, a lot of scales, and like these protuberance, whatever you want to call them, kind of like spikes or whatever. And their tusks were maybe only this big. And they look quite different. They had a lot of markings on them, different colors. And they didn't live like in the Sahara that we think. They lived, how would I describe it? Do excuse the irritating dog. It followed me home one day, and I can't get rid of it. Its name is Oscar. What was it saying? they lived on almost this rocky kind of area. So it wasn't exactly like the Sahara. I apologize. And then also the plains are there. So, one second. I believe this is his first recording he's been a part of, so he doesn't quite understand manners. So eventually he'll quiet down. He's not the most graceful of animals. He has a lot of circles on his head. I believe they're almost like antennas, where he hears certain things through them, or like picks up sound vibrations, and he likes to be as irritating as possible. I'll just leave it at that. So yeah, it was quite a journey that I had to go through. So my apologies for not being here. But as I was saying, the fancy telescope, almost, if you will, kind of told the past and the future. Now, he gave me my own version of it for whatever reason. I still don't know why, but he gave me a smaller one that can do far less, obviously, because that one is godlike. It's an entity-made instrument, while this one is scaled down a little bit. The other one was massive, like I said, but not this one. Now, all you have to do is peer into this right here, and the electrons and so on are pulled into the front of this, as you can see right here. It has almost like a mirror, so everything gets sucked into here and it gets sent out into here, and you can look into it and see, almost as if the world is a microscope, and you can see everything that goes on in here. And there's all these little contraptions in here where you can basically like change a channel, and you can flip on to the past, the future. There's a dial over here where you can put specific dates in. So if you're curious about November 27th, 3048, you just plug that in to this right here. It has like a little button here where a laser goes off, and it finds the time period, and it sends it into the front of this contraption here, and it can go into this. Now this piece right here, this eyepiece, is different than the piece with the laser. Now the piece with the laser is more specific, and they're short-lived. So you can find something with this. I'll see if you can see it. There it is, right here, the laser. That will show you a particular scene, if you will. So you can look up Mary Lou's Christmas or something like that, and it'll show you that time. This piece, on the other hand, will show you the full day. So it's a little more powerful than the laser one. But if you just want to look up a specific instance, the laser's perfect. But this will tell you more details. Again, with the buzzing, this place needs to get burned down. So, let's see. We'll look into your future. We'll do 10 years. Okay, 10 years is 2032, almost 2033. So we'll pick your future in 10 years. So 10 years from today, we'll take a look at it. Just play with the dials here. Check our contraption. Okay. Alright, let's see. Well, there's a fast forward and a reverse switch over here, so we can speed through the day, so we don't have to watch the entire thing, because that'll take 24 hours. So, and you'll be sleeping, and God knows what you're doing in the bathroom. So, what time are you usually out and about, not doing anything private? Okay, so we'll set it to 2:30, 10 years from today. Alright, here we go. Interesting. Now, just one quick question. What are you currently doing for work, and what's your relationship status? Got it. Okay. Well, you don't need to see it, I'll just explain. So, 10 years from today, at about 2:30, you are walking down the street, and you come across this little kid, and he calls you by your parent name or whatever. So you either adopted a kid, found a kid and took it in, or you have your own kid. So congratulations. I can't see if you have a ring or not, so you might, if you're married right now, then that could be your current spouse, or it could be a future spouse, or you could be single. All I know, based on that brief instance, is that there's a kid in your life. Don't know if you like it or not, but the kid is there. Kid looks about 6 or 7. So in 3 years or 4 years, you'll be having some kind of offspring. So congratulations. So we'll just reset this back to the way it was. You want to do another one in the future? I'm sure you already know your past, so future is probably what you want to know, right? Okay. So how about we do think about it. I don't want to go too far because you'll be dead and that'd be pointless. How about 20 years? We'll jump another 10. Same time? Great, okay. Let's see. Interesting. Okay, that's all I need to see. It's quite disturbing. I don't know if you would like to hear it. Perhaps we should move on. You want to hear it? Okay. I'll have to say it in a way that's not as disturbing as how I have seen it, but it involves a beating stick, and an activity where there's a table, and some unmentionables. We'll just leave it at that. I don't want to pry too much into your your interests. So we'll just leave it like that. Perhaps it's a future interest of yours, but either way, we'll just leave it at that. We'll just reset this real quick. I don't know if I can look at you the same way. It's kind of weird. I'll try not to let that be a factor. Okay, alright, so everything's all adjusted. Okay, so there is the reason where I've been gone for a while. So if in case that's what you were wondering, there is your story. Do with that what you will. I will have to just pack up my my things right now, and perhaps see you or not see you in the future based on how I feel about this. I'm just gonna fold this up, take my device. Just gonna fold this up. Here we go. So I look forward to maybe seeing you in the future. If not, I believe that's perfectly acceptable. Again, I hope your child wasn't present during that activity. I'm not here to judge, but I'm also here judging. I might go back to one of my riffs. Perhaps it is less disturbing there. I don't need help. I might have to find my buddy Ishmael and see how he feels about all this. But until then, I will see you or not see you in the future. Good luck to you. I won't mention this to anyone else. Great.